Wow, so much has been going on with Project Fast Fish, and so much work has been completed over the last year and several months. But now, just this past week, something huge happened, and we're ready to start thinking forward with what to do next with Project Fast Fish. Let me share that with you. Back when we first launched Mike's Motorworks, and Project Fast Fish, you guys know that Project Fast Fish was the driving force to create Mike's Motorworks. In fact, after the build videos and the first firing videos for the 390 stroker motor that we built for Project Fast Fish, we decided to relabel and rename and rebrand everything to Mike's Motorworks. Mike being not for me, Mike, but for Mike's Motorworks for Mike, as in on the mic, entertainment. And yes, Mike's Motorworks is in the entertainment business. We showcase how to do things. You can categorize it as educational. You can categorize it as entertainment. You can categorize it as, do it yourself and so on and so forth, okay? And while, yes, the show just features one project, there are a lot of things that have happened with just the project itself. Now, a few months after we built fired up the 390, and I purchased the 72 Barracuda, or the 72 Cuda, which was a 340 Cuda, complete with the H code on there. We decided to go ahead and build a stroker motor to kind of help with the fundraising for Project Fast Fish. And while some money was spent on the project motor, the idea was to use the components that we had lying around from other projects to kind of build into one motor and, use it as a fundraiser. Now, for those that know and been kind of following through, that motor sat for a little bit. Now, it looked pretty when it was sitting. It was sitting on the cage and what have you. We got it all painted up. We got it fired up, and after it fired up, we painted it. Looked really, really awesome, and waiting for somebody to buy. And somebody finally purchased that motor. In fact, it was just enough on that sale to go ahead and get the components that we need to finish the shell here of Project Fast Fish. Really, really, really huge. So to check out what's been done thus far, I highly recommend that you watch a couple of the links that I'm going to post above, all right? The first link I'm going to show you is the recent update that we shot at the beginning of the year. It was the January 2023 update. And of course, I want to give you a small update here on what's changed since that point. And then we're going to go ahead and show you what I got to get accomplished next, where things have kind of left off, because I haven't been able to work on the car in a few weeks because life got in the way a little bit. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to try to work on and get done by this summer in preparation for, well, the next step for the shell for Project Fast Fish. Since January, a lot has been accomplished, okay? In fact, everything that you see here and here, well, except for this piece, is new. It has new wheel wells on there, both the outer and the inners. I did a little walkthrough video on that, and I'm quite confident these are in the best space they can be, especially when you use your points of reference around the vehicle, around the seams and such. Both sides were done really, really well. I went ahead and replaced the under seat pan and of course the trunk floors, and gave this a lot of attention up in this area for rust prevention and what have you. I went ahead and coated everything with Eastwood's rust encapsulator, and that will eventually be cleaned off again and kind of scuffed up in preparation for epoxy primer and of course the seam sealer, so on and so forth, that will need to go on the vehicle. So again, a lot has been done there. I'm going to leave the links where you can kind of follow those. Again, those should be popping up above. And you can also check out our playlist for Project Fast Fish to see every single episode featuring Project Fast Fish on there. Now, of course, this area is still exposed, okay? And what I'm doing right now is I'm fixing up this area right up into here where the upper channel is here, the upper brace, and both of these need a little bit of extra attention. I got some welding to do up here to fill in some holes, and I got to finish getting those parts installed properly by clamping and welding, and to get those ready for, well, the next stage, and get those ready for sealer and such. In fact, up in here, you can kind of see if I get the camera in. I'm going to use the camera and my pointy finger. This is looking at the upper, well, this is the front window. This is the front of the vehicle this way. All right, so you can see the front of the vehicle this way. This is looking at the new front bow brace that was installed. And of course, this area here needs to be kind of cleaned up and welded back in. This area here is a little structurally needing some love. So Pop's got a 2D printer that we're going to go ahead and measure this out for and cut that and get that into space. And I'm going to go ahead and get this all snugged up and welded back as it should be, embraced up into here. Again, getting ready for that final coat of epoxy sealer. Everything has been neutralized up here with the Osvo, so it's looking pretty sharp. And the same thing can be said for the other area over there. I need to show that area some same love. And if you were watching the other video where I put in the bow braces on the side and the outer bow braces, I went ahead and replaced the channel that goes, let me see if I can get that up here. There's a channel that runs all the way up there. I had to cut that out and replace it, so I got to finish welding and cleaning that area up. And then of course there's little spots like over here that need a little bit of love, and some spots over here. After we get that taken care of, I want to do that while I'm standing, so we can get that done and then get the floor in. Now the floor area has been prepped and ready to go for a while. I've left the tape in this area where the welding zones are, and I have sealed everything with either epoxy primer or the rust encapsulator. And of course, where the areas are, like in the back here, where it'll need to be scuffed up or to raw metal so I can weld on it, that's of course going to happen. But everything is ready for that floor to go on and be installed. Okay, so that's going to be a big episode coming around this summer. So once I get those upper inner braces taken care of, we're going to get the floor on, and I'm going to go through the steps to do this. Now, I've said in the past that I am by no means an auto body expert. All right, this is the first time I've taken on something like this, and yes, I have made mistakes on the way. You could watch that January update for some of those mistakes where I point them out and call myself out on it. That's fine, okay? Now, with that in mind, if I can do it, you can do it, all right? I just had to teach myself some basic skills, the basics of welding. Can I weld a little plug weld? Okay, I learned how to do that, all right? Next one, I struggled with the plug welds when they were kind of vertical, and I had to learn how to do that, all right? Some of the first ones were quite ugly. Now I've gotten a whole lot better at it. Can I do a seam weld where you stitch little pieces at a time? I'm getting much better at it, all right? So those are the things that I've had to kind of teach myself on the way. What is the process? What is needed? How do you do it? And then I was able to get out there and do it. So speaking of getting out there and doing it, we are going to be looking forward here. In fact, with the sale of that motor and that 349 stroker motor, we are ready to go ahead and purchase every other component that is needed to restore the shell of the vehicle. Okay, that includes the quarter panel, the taillight panel extensions, the sail panel. I'm getting full, complete quarters, complete roof, and drip rails. One of the first things I'll need to do after I get that floor in is go ahead and take care of rebuilding the hinges. I got a hinge rebuild kit. The hinges themselves are in fantastic shape, but the little bushings need a little bit of love. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and rebuild those. And then of course I got new skins coming for the doors. Once I get the doors on, I'll be able to hang the skin or the quarters. Once I get the quarters on, I'll be able to make sure everything is in alignment where it needs to be at, get the taillight panel in, the extensions, so on and so forth. And of course, the last part will be getting that roof in. My Fenders are actually in decent shape. I do need to fix a couple little pinholes in the front underneath the lights, and there is a dent that happened when somebody backed into the car in the 80s that I need to get taken care of. And overall though, the fenders are in fantastic shape. I do need to take care of a little patchwork on the lower side behind one of the wheel wells, so I'm gonna do a little patch on that, and pretty much we are ready to go. I got to get new valances. So I'm going to get a new valance for the front and the new valance for the rear. I haven't decided if I want to go with the cuda design with the twin exhaust out the rear valance, you know, in the middle of it, or if I want to go with the standard out the rear side underneath the valance. I'm still considering that. But overall, you know, this thing is ready to be, you know, coming to a close here. And then I can put other things into motion. Now, am I going to be able to get everything done super uber fast? No, okay? Again, I work as a teacher and, you know, I got some other goals I'm trying to attend to, and my goal is to have, you know, Mike's Motor Works be completely funding itself. It hasn't happened yet, but it can happen, all right? That's why I need you guys to hit that subscribe button and continue to watch my videos. The more people that watch the videos, the more revenue I get from YouTube, okay? I also leave links down below, and those links will often take you to places where I get a little bit of kickback. I use Amazon for a lot of my consumable items, okay? And there are other areas where I also get a little bit of kickback from as well. Now, sometimes I'll put a link up there that I don't get a kickback, but that's to help you guys out as you're watching. So I do encourage you to use those links that I provide below, okay? Now, as I move forward, okay, I do have a couple of things that I am going to do with the car. I am going to go ahead and put some sound deadening inside and some heat deadening inside. I'm going to go ahead and build a rotisserie. All right, so we're going to that in the way distant future. I got to do it yourself design to make a good rotisserie because there's some things I want to do underneath the car. That's just going to be easier to do once I get a rotisserie made. So you definitely want to be paying attention to that. And then of course, once that is taken care of and I get it off the rotisserie, we're ready to put the suspension on and then kind of put the motor in, get some weight on the vehicle, let it settle, and then we'll get ready to take to paint and body where you can get it painted up and ready for the road. And honestly, with that in mind, okay, there's not too much after that that'll get this thing up and road worthy, which I am super happy about. So I am, yes, a little bit of ways out before that happens and such, but again, I am severely, severely happy with the next steps that are coming through and the ability to order the parts that'll help complete the shell. Because once I get the shell completed, oh man, it is going to be absolutely glorious. And I am so looking forward to that. So make sure you stay tuned and thank you so much for watching.